What's going on YouTube? Flashy here, and today I have another Destiny 2 build for you guys, and this one is absolutely insane for a few reasons. But before we get into that, if you could please leave a like on the video and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future Destiny 2 videos, that'd be much appreciated. But now let's get into this build, and what makes this so special is that it actually works even better with a teammate. Don't get me wrong, it works absolutely great when playing solo, but when you have a fire team member that's also running a version of this, things get wild. So this Warlock build is all focused either on Void Warlock's aspect, Child of the Old God, or the Arc Warlock's aspect, Arc Soul. However, the Void Soul and the Arc Soul are very different. For the Void Soul, you're able to cast your Rift to create a Void Soul. When you damage a target with your weapon, your Void Soul flies to them and drains them, doing damage and weakening them. So essentially, when your Void Soul is out, it's actually acting kind of like a Hunter Void Anchor. It's going to kind of attach itself to a bunch of enemies around it, and it's going to weaken them. So all the damage you do to those targets, they're going to be taking increased damage. They're going to have slowed movement speed. But furthermore, when a target is being drained, you're granted grenade and melee energy if you're running the healing rift. But if you're running the empowering rift, you get health while the targets are being drained. Not only that, there's even more. Defeating a target who is being drained by your Void Soul grants class ability energy. So you're constantly getting your rift, you're getting the soul, you're constantly getting melee, grenade, and class ability energy back. It's absolutely crazy. Just a quick tip with the Void Soul. Once you activate your rift and the soul appears, make sure you take your first shot with your weapon at the boss or the champion or whatever target you're trying to focus, because again, that Void Soul is going to fly to the first target that you damage with your weapon. And what's happened to me a lot of times is I'll get my Void Soul, I'll be like in the middle of a room with so many ads, and I'll shoot one drag on accident in like the back corner of the room, and my Void Soul will go there, and it's like, oh, I kind of just wasted it. But you get your rift back so fast with this build, so it's not the biggest problem, but just try to keep that in mind. Now over to the Arc Soul. So with the Arc Soul, you cast your rift to create an Arc Soul that fires at a target in front of you. Allies can pass through your rift to get an Arc Soul. Your rift charges faster when allies are near, which is really nice. And then while amplified, your Arc Souls are supercharged and gain increased fire rate. If you play around kind of an amplified Arc Warlock, this is really good. But even if you don't, the Arc Soul on its own is just so good. So we have those two souls, right? We have the Arc and the Void. But what if I told you that you can have both of them at the same time? And this is where the floodgates for this build just open up. Because, for example, if you're running Void Warlock and your teammate is running Arc Warlock, the two of you can just constantly be putting down rifts. Even more, though, because if you're doing matchmaking or even have a third Warlock or even a random, anytime somebody runs through those rifts, you are literally just stacking souls and decimating any room that's filled with ads. And then you can even take this a step further because it's on both of your rifts. So if you want to run healing rift and you have your teammate run empowering rift, and now you have a healer and increased weapons damage, or, and especially for the higher tier content, you can both run healing rift and you essentially have one massive just zone of healing. It's crazy. Also, check this out. I thought this was super neat, and I'm such a nerd for this, but if you have a Void Soul and an Arc Soul, the Void Soul kind of acts like a planet, and the Arc Soul gets caught in its gravitational pull. Honestly, such a little detail, but so cool that they did that. So now, depending on your build and stats, you might notice that it's actually taking a while for your rift to come back. Well, that can actually be fixed in a couple of ways. First and foremost, we could take a look over at our recovery stat. Now, currently, my recovery stat is not good at all. As you can see, it's only 15. I'm only getting a 3% increase. But even with this low recovery stat, I was still getting my rift back super fast. But if you're really liking this build and you want to optimize it, definitely bump this recovery stat up. But as I was saying, even if you have terrible recovery, we can still get our rift back extremely fast. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go into our Warlock bond. We're going to want to change its affinity to stasis. Then we're going to head down into our armor mods and grab 2 utility kickstart mods. As you can see, when your class ability energy is fully expended, you gain class ability energy. So essentially, as soon as you put down your rift, you're already getting your rift back. And we run 2 of them, so it's stacking even more, and we're getting our rift back even faster. Now, personally, I also pair this with the Stag helmet. Aesthetically, this is my favorite helmet. That's why I'm running it. So there are probably better Warlock exotics for this build, but I like this one a lot because we're really focused on that rift. And the armor perk for the Stag is that your rift provides damage reduction to allied guardians. So again, if you're running that higher tier content, you'll be able to put down so many rifts. So you and your allies are healing, you and your allies are getting souls, you and your allies are getting damage reduction. And then also what's really nice is it grants rift energy when you're critically wounded. So again, getting more of that rift energy back. And even more so, on your death, you create a healing rift on your corpse. So even when you die, you're still kind of helping out your team. And you're usually going to get a free res because they're just standing in a healing rift. So honestly, that's really the build. It's nothing crazy. It's just stacking as many rifts as you can and Void Souls and working with a teammate. And just tell, like, as soon as you walk into a room, just looking at your Warlock teammate and be like, pop your rift. You both pop your rifts. Now you got 2 souls and you're just running around and the entire room is just getting cleared. It doesn't matter if it's 1350 light difficulty or maximum high tier difficulty, you will be flying through rooms when using this build. But again, it does work solo, but having that fire team member, having that friend that's running the opposite Warlock as you, it just makes it so much fun. But as always with these build videos, let me know what you think down in the comments. What changes would you make? Any different exotics or mods? Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.